and we're back with Heja Framtiden, the Swedish podcast on the future. I'm here in Stockholm at KTH Innovation and Sustainable Fashion Day. I'm sitting here with Selah Li from a company called Elior. Mm-hmm. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Christian.
So Elior is a company doing 3D printed cosmetics.
Yes.
How did you come up with the idea initially?
So it was around 2017. Back then, inclusivity was huge. Fenty Beauty just came up with this line of 50 shades of foundation. I was actually in front of one of their shelves and looking at it, I was like, that's great. I can finally find something. I'm Asian, so it's difficult for me to find something here. But then coming from KTH, I was also thinking, but wait, how can they sell everything? How do they handle the logistics? And then I went back and was checking, and actually, only certain bestsellers can make the sales, and the rest are there for representation, meaning that sometimes they don't get sold and they get thrown away. I was like, that's not the way how you should do it. And I always have this philosophy that we should unlink material use with economic growth, meaning that we should create something that is meaningful with experience. I was talking with a group of friends, and we were talking about 3D printing and on-demand production customization. And I was like, but this is perfect. So instead of producing a lot of shades and throwing them away in the end, why don't we produce on-demand and custom make it tailored to the skin color of the people? And on one side, it's much more inclusive. And on the other hand, you're much more sustainable in the production process. And that's how the idea of the company was embodied.
So now you are showcasing 3D printed lipstick here today.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you have several other products, or how are you working now?
Yeah. So essentially, what we are building is a manufacturing platform that enables brands and retailers to be able to produce on demand and customized at scale. So the platform is suitable for different kinds of application, cosmetics being one of it, and it's our beachhead market because there's such a big passion from the consumer side to have custom-made products. So that being said, we are right now selling custom-made lipsticks. We're trying foundation. We're trying, for example, different cream and, for example, shampoo. It's also possible later on to do different FMCG, fast-moving consumer good, for example, detergents. But the basic idea is to be able to have a platform so that brands and retailers can actually create products like that.
Would you say that you have two different legs of the business model? One is that you're selling yourself directly to consumers, and the other is providing brands with the platform and the technology.
I would say the direct-to-consumer was an early idea and was an intuitive one because we thought, okay, this must be popular and we want to have kind of a proof of concept because everything we build ourselves and we build from scratch. Nobody else in the world have done this before. So we actually have to prove that it actually works. But we also understand that in order to reach all of those sustainability things that I talk about the scale and everything, it actually doesn't make sense for us to be a brand because we don't want to drive more demand. We actually want to make sure that the production process is more sustainable. So then it actually makes more sense for us to work with brands and retailers to help them to change to a more sustainable production path. So yeah, I would say more the D2C, the brand part is more a test bed. It's not really our main business model. We don't really make money from it, or like it's not our main focus. More the B2B part is our focus.
Additive manufacturing, 3D printing, is the cost being constantly lower so that these brands can afford to invest in this kind of equipment? Or are you providing them with that equipment? Or it's just a digital platform?
So right now we are piloting with retailers. The idea is that we'll provide them the platform, the manufacturing system. So you see the printer we have for cosmetics today. So we provide them this. And so then basically you can just imagine you just have a new gadget on your e-com interface. And there we have this interface that you can choose either it's foundation or it's lipstick. And when the consumer says buy, actually it will be sent to our production dashboard, and then it will be produced. Actually, we are now discussing with different partners whether it makes more sense for them to control this production process, or it makes more sense for us to actually have a fulfillment center, and we are more like we dispatch the product instead of them. So that's something we're actually developing right now.
Okay, so it will probably not be in-store 3D printing.
It's probably very interesting. It's an attraction, but it's not the most economic way to do it. But I would say it would be the hook, how you get the consumers on board, because you have seen today we have a huge line in front of it. I think today in 4 hours we made like 50 samples. And this would be a really interesting way to first acquire the consumer, and then once they're interested, imagine if you found a foundation that you love and it's your color, and you're going to order it again and again. And this should not be done in the physical store because it's not cost efficient.
So you will basically get a color code for your particular skin color and skin structure, and then you can go back after a few months when you run out. You can go back after a few months and add your code again and just click on buy.
Yeah, so right now it's color, but it's also possible to have your specific formula if you want to change the texture of the product and so on. For us, it's about changing the cartridge in the machine so that you can reach different textures as well.
It's very interesting. I mean, you're part now of this KTH innovation setup, or what do you call it, program. And this is the Sustainable Fashion Day. I haven't heard many people talk about the makeup industry, but that must be a huge polluter and will have probably a huge climate impact as well.
Yes, actually, we have done a lot of studies. We have indicators that around 20 to 40% of the products are not being sold directly, and there are different ways to get rid of it, one of it being to go to the landfill eventually. Of course, they are tested safe for human to use. That's why they can be on the market. But on the other hand, they are not so much tested to be buried in the ground. So we actually don't know so much about their impact on the environment, especially when they are thrown away directly in their package. Of course, this is something the industry really want to hide and don't want consumer to see. But from our side, it's like we have to face the fact how our society is, and we have to improve so that both the economy and also as a society, we produce more sustainably, we, get along together more sustainably. But I would say the scale would probably be less than the fashion industry, than textile. But I've been trying to get this number for years and I still cannot get it. Yeah, so if anybody listening that knows about this, please contact me because I would love to know more about it. But we know it's huge. We don't know exactly how huge it is because all the numbers are hidden from us.
Yeah, and I mean, personalization, individualization is one big driver now in sustainable shift. Do you see this becoming scalable? I mean, that's why I mentioned the cost of 3D printing, because it's still expensive and takes a lot of manual labor.
I would say, to be very objective, in a very long time, the cost to produce a personalized a product would probably be much higher, or not much higher, would be higher than mass produce something. But this is only if you look at the product itself. What we have to do is to do a system thinking. You need to zoom out and look at, okay, so what does it cost for me to actually receive a product that I'm happy with, taking consideration of all the transportation and all the products that is thrown away because you don't like it, or the products that you don't use, like gathering dust in your shelf because it doesn't suit you. So if you count everything like that in, then it will not be so expensive environmentally or resource-wise to custom make a product. What we see as the future of the industry, it could be that what we know is that there are certain bestsellers that are, brands know how much they will sell and it just makes sense to mass produce them. But for the products that brands are not so sure about, they're piloting, they're trying, or for the niche long tail market, it actually make much more sense to personalize them because of all the cost, transportation, throwing away and laying on the shelf. All of that combined, it will be much more resource efficient to actually personalize it.
Is there a recycling process for makeup?
Recycling in terms of what's inside the bottle, or that is very, very hard, I would say, because once you mix the material, it's very hard to reverse the process. Not as far as I know, but I do know that there are a lot of initiatives to reuse the packaging. And I think maybe the best way is that people actually use what's inside and then recycle or not recycle, actually reuse the packaging is better. Reuse is always better than recycle. Yeah.
So the key here is to get the right color from the start.
Yeah, or the right formula, the right content for the consumer. And yeah.
Great. Thank you so much, Selah Li from Allure.
Thank you, Christian.
Good luck in the future. And allure.se. You can find more information about the 3D printing cosmetics and makeup that you're producing. My name is Christian von Essen. I'm recording here from KTH Innovation Sustainable Fashion Day in Stockholm. Check out hejaframtiden.se for more information. Thank you so much for listening.